Oh, that's got to be one of the best pictures you could have used as the stinger.
Mhm.
Disney's Bob Iger eyed for LA mayor amid Karen Bass California wildfire controversy. I only kind of tangentially know this story. But it says, could Bob Iger become the next mayor of LA? One elected official certainly seems to think Disney's big boss could be the next LA mayor. It is important to note that Bob Iger has, he has spoken about going into politics very, very openly. He at one point wanted to be the president, right?
Yep.
Spoken about this stuff openly. So California Congressman Ro Khanna, a former supporter of LA Mayor Karen Bass, is calling for a major change in the city's leadership in the wake of, just swap out one leftist lunatic twat for another one. Oh, such a big shame. What a big shake-up that'll be. God, that'll be massive change. In the wake of the devastating wildfires that exposed LA's lack of preparedness, Khanna has suggested that Disney CEO Bob Iger should step into the political arena and challenge Bass for the mayoral seat. So someone who should be running for LA mayor is Bob Iger, Khanna said. He's someone I know very well. He's the leader of Disney. He's a remarkable person. He had thought about running for president, and we need a new leadership in the state of California. While he had endorsed Bass during her mayoral campaign, Khanna now believes new leadership is essential. I'm hopeful Iger will do it, Khanna said. I don't know if he will, but I'm hopeful he will. Khanna emphasized that Iger's business acumen could be a game changer for LA during business acumen. Mate, how much they're in debt? Disney's in debt.
Yeah, they're a hot mess, actually, and LA is in terrible situation. And Bob hasn't exactly recovered Disney. You know, he's actually kind of driven it downwards again, all based on politics.
Yeah.
So,
he's running Disney into the ground. Culture, can I ask? Sorry, you have told me before. I know you're in California. Are you anywhere remotely near LA?
no, I have spent many years worth of time and many different times in my life in California. I am a little ways away from there at the moment. I will tell you that Disney, whether it be theme parks or film or television, has gone downhill dramatically. If you visit Disneyland, it's a shadow of what it used to be. All the common things that you can point to are the terrible leadership from within the structure of the company. The city of Los Angeles and the surrounding areas they need solid, strong leadership, individuals that can hire other individuals that also have solid, keen leadership abilities. And there are none in any position in the Los Angeles government at the moment. And there certainly, I don't believe his presence would add much to it. Rick Caruso, who was running against Karen Bass, was the logical choice to get out of the doldrums. And if you still wanted to stay aligned politically with, the extreme side of the left, but at least he had a plan. And we probably wouldn't have had the fires we just had with Rick Caruso. I mean, we would have still had fire, just not the likes of which existed there. I would say that the Palisades would not have probably burned down completely, and the other areas that burned would likely not have also had the same situation. But again, because of the winds that were there, because of where the fires were and how they traveled down the hill, this was always going to happen. I mean, Joe Rogan had a guest on about half a decade ago that talked about the fact that you could burn from the mountains to the sea in that area rather easily with the right amount of wind. And when you don't stock up the reservoir with water, I mean, there's that. Not to mention the fact that they did not amplify the reservoirs. They didn't add to the collection of them that they had. And the Inez reservoir was offline when the fire started. That doesn't help.
What about those poor fish?
That
was their excuse, wasn't it? Something about fucking fish or something.
There was Trump went on Joe Rogan fairly shortly before the election, didn't he?
Yeah.
In like October or something last year. And he just happened to mention, just one of the many things he mentioned was that.
Yeah.
Not just in LA, the LA, greater LA area, but all over California. The powers that be are just not managing the situation. I mean, there's one of the things in Britain, we have troubles when it gets cold or snows. Everything grinds to a halt unnecessarily, it seems. But of course, in LA or Southern California, let's say, it's a desert, right? I remember Bill Burr, who has turned into a completely insufferable leftist in recent times. But Bill Burr has a bit about how sort of weirdly unnatural it is to build a city in the middle of a desert. You could say the same about loads of places in America, like Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever. That if you don't manage it properly, you're in trouble, right? It's got to be managed. You can't just. It's not like a truly organic city like Berlin or London, right? That's been there since ancient times, literally. No, you've built this thing from scratch in a desert, so you manage that in a professional manner. Otherwise, something like this is going to happen. It just seems like, it seems like it's all. I don't know if what I'm about to say is actually true or not. It just seems to me, as an outsider looking in, that it's almost deliberate. Like the powers that be don't care that the Palisades burnt down. It's just massive fire.
Well, it's an opportunity to, put a 15-minute city in LA.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there are very, very specific nefarious plans.
Well,
Malibu or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Well, I guess to sort of steamroll that into the future, you could have bloody Disney's CEO running for the mayor. I mean, come on now, he'd do such a good job, wouldn't he? That's what this congressman thinks. He literally says he wanted to run for president, and for a number of reasons, I think he didn't. But I want new leadership across the state of California, and we certainly need dynamic leadership in LA. Apparently, he has spoken directly to Iger about it. I would support Iger over almost anyone in Los Angeles, he said.
What a bumlicker.
That would be
what
a disaster.
I mean, so the idea of someone who's not really involved in politics properly winning high office is actually a really hard thing to convert. I mean, there are, of course, examples. There's Trump. There's Arnie, who was governor, wasn't he, of California? There's Ronald Reagan. So there are examples of it. But there are also so many other examples of people, someone like Bob Iger, extremely rich and powerful and got name recognition, attempting to run for high office, not like the mayor of LA, but, trying to become a governor or a senator or something. And it not working. Because people actually, it can, if you're not genuinely liked and your worldview and your politics, if it's not popular, genuinely popular, you're probably not going to get anywhere with it, right? And of course, there are exceptions to that, like Arnie is a great exception to what I'm saying, but I don't feel like Bob Iger has got anything like the political capital needed to. I mean, he might run and win as mayor of LA, but if he tried to if he tried to run for president or become a senator or something, I suspect he would fail.
I agree. Yeah,
people know him. People know he's a bad leader.
I think the only thing that would be in his favor for LA is that he would, had been the former technical boss of a lot of the people that live there, I guess. That's kind of it.
He also was the weatherman there. So they know him from the TV, watching him predict the weather.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, weatherman Bob Iger. Yeah, he came up through Capital Cities through ABC. That's how he ended up with Disney and leading Disney. Right. Yeah, it's the weatherman.
That's interesting. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I talk about that. I talk about that as often as I can. The weatherman Bob Iger.
Never promote a weatherman then.
Yeah, in fact, when he quote unquote retired because of the pandemic that we went through, he retired right before that became a big problem for everybody running out the door. Anyway, he did his last duty with Disney, or one of his last duties at Disney was to host a weather segment on an ABC station, if I remember correctly. So, yeah.
Well, hilariously, the New York Times reported he wasn't very good at it.
Seems like there's not that much skill required. Just like,
Well,
just read
that's
the
a
thing. Just read.
that daily job is 50-50 though. You have a decent chance of being right half the time.
All right. Yeah.
Mental.
Weatherman Bob. Yep. He started weatherman work in 1973 in Ithaca, New York.
Speaking of fires, remember Phantasmic burning down? What the hell is Phantasmic?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a California, America thing? I don't know what that is, I'm afraid.
Culture?
Say again?
This is a super chat. What is
I see it.
Phantasmic?
Phantasmic.
Phantasmic is a show in Disneyland that is held at the end of the day in the evening on the rivers of America, where the steamboat has characters on it and all kinds of things. It's this fantastic amalgamation of different technologies to entertain, including water screens where images are projected onto them, kind of walking you through that particular part of Fantasia, amongst other things. It's basically a celebration it's a celebration of imagination. No, there was a fire that burned the dragon completely. There was a dragon that would appear with a pyrotechnic effect that would obviously shoot out fire. It caught fire and burned this giant robot arm. And then and this has happened before. They've also burned up not burned up, but it caused burns for some performers on that very same show.
Should love.
Well, I mean, yeah, they didn't. They catch fire because another pyrotechnic effect is that Mickey raises his fingers and it shoots off like sparkler pyrotechnics to like indicate magic or some stuff. And there have been a couple of times when performers have been ignited a bit. So, I watched a performer live fall from the first floor of the steamboat to the bottom floor of the steamboat, or I should say the second floor to the bottom. Yeah, that was pretty fantastic.
Jesus.
Yeah. That it's usually not that eventful. It's usually a pretty neat show, but yeah, the dragon caught fire. So it was not bueno.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that super chat. Flying blind
on a rocket cycle.
That's right. Appreciate that, but I did not know that. What a shit show Disney is. Well, there you go. I mean,
Speaking of, by the way, a lot of these things are attributed to very poor maintenance practices under Iger, and because of the budget cuts that they do to try to squeak more money out of people's wallets. So they don't have nearly the engineering staff they used to make things like that not occur.
Stupid. Or like whenever companies begin to try and save money on stuff like that, it's always disaster that follows.
So exactly the sort of diligence you would want in any incoming LA mayor, Iger has shown exactly incompetence in exactly that area. Great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Epic. I can't imagine him being elected mayor. Definitely not. God, I hope not anyway. Well, there you go. Anyway, we will